Well, the Wallaby Rugby Union team played their first test match in this year's Rugby Championship competition last night in Argentina against Los Pumas, and they were out there captain Michael Hooper. And what a stir this has been in the world of rugby union in the last 48 hours, with Michael Hooper actually pulling himself out of the team and returning home to Australia because of mental health situation. And you've got to feel really sorry for Michael Hooper, but also you've got to applaud the great man that he is, not only on the rugby field but also off the rugby field. And Hooper's played 121 test matches for the Wallabies, and he's actually outseen 3 coaches in that time, and he's been an amazing player, an amazing captain, and some would say that he's been carrying that team for many years. And it's unfortunate that we're starting to see across the world of professional sport a lot of elite players succumbing to mental illness in different ways, and also the scheduling and back-to-back activities that are taking place with schedules within different sports as well. Now, even though the Rugby Championships is just getting underway for this season, these rugby players have been playing a lot of rugby already for their club and then the domestic season, and now they've got a pretty tight schedule coming up when it comes to the Rugby Championships in the case of Australia, New Zealand and the Springboks and Argentina, but they've also got the World Cup coming up next year. So there's a lot of pressure on a lot of these players to play a lot of rugby games. Now, Michael Hooper, he's a guy that plays at such a high intensity. He's not scared to put his head in places where no other man would go, and that's what's made him so great over the years, because he really plays his game at full tilt and really with least self-preservation as possible. And he's been an amazing player for the Australian Wallabies, and it's sad to see that it's come to this situation where he's actually put his hand up and said, "Hey coach, I don't think I'm fit enough to play mentally in this match for my country, and I'm going to return home to Australia." So Michael Hooper not only needs a lot of love at the moment, but the sport needs to take a look at the scheduling and the pressures and also the physicality of the sport. Rugby is a tough man's game. It always has been, always will be. And someone like Hooper, who's been in those battles year after year after year, I guess I think of people like Richie McCall as a similar type of player to Michael Hooper. And those guys put themselves on the line every time they go out in their respective nation's jersey. And I think Hooper's body and his mind has got to the stage where perhaps it's just become too much for him. And well, obviously it has. He's pulled himself out of the team. So we've seen people like Ben Stokes in cricket, who's put his hand up recently and said, look, I'm going to retire from one-day cricket because there's too much cricket being played. There's too many pressures put on elite class sports people today to perform and always perform, and it's inevitable that there's going to be these mental pressures that are put on these players, and some of them are just going to put their hand up and say, look, enough is enough. We also see it in tennis. We're seeing the top players in the world rankings playing lesser tournaments because their bodies are breaking down, their minds are overloaded with all the different things that they're required to do as an elite sports people. Let's face it, it's not just being on the field of play, it's not just the training, it's all the sponsorship commitments, it's the social media activities that are going on. It's never been like this in the world of sports before, the pressure that's currently on professional sports people. So Michael Hooper has taken the decision to say, hey, I need some time out, I need to go home and get myself together. So I hope, and I'm pretty sure, that Michael Hooper's got good people around him. He's going to need that right now, maybe forgetting about rugby for a while and getting into some other hobbies and activities that he likes to do. Clean the mind up, let the body have a rest. There's nothing like having a great break to reset and to come back even stronger than he has. And you know what, he might call time on his game here. He might say, this is retirement for me, this is all too much. Dave Rennie, the coach of the Wallabies, has been 100% supportive and appreciative, but also very grateful for Michael Hooper saying and being manly enough to say, hey, I'm not well enough to represent my country, I need to sit out. And James Slipper, the stand captain, did a great job. The Wallabies came away with a win of 41-26 against Argentina in Argentina last night. And the team poured their heart out. They all said how they were playing for Michael Hooper last night, and what a stalwart he's been for the team over the years. And they recognise this guy's got a lot of credibility within the team, and he's got a lot of people that support him. So he's going to need that support now. and let's hope Rugby Australia put their arms around Michael Hooper in more ways than one, and give him all the support that he deserves, and also the privacy that he deserves as well, because this is not about having to do a media show about why he's going through this. I think there's enough of us pundits out there putting our own opinions together, but Michael Hooper needs some time to reset himself, to reevaluate where he's in his rugby career, so that he can move forward from here. So there's the news over the weekend, has been that Michael Hooper has withdrawn himself from the Australian Wallabies Rugby Union tour to Argentina, and there's been no discussion at this time when if Michael Hooper will be coming back to play, and Dave Rennie and the boys will have to carry on at this stage without him. So there we go, a little bit of news from Rugby Union, and I'll be back again soon in another video. If you haven't already, hit the old subscribe button to the channel. I'll be reporting on sports news from around the world on a regular basis, and I'd like to have you come along for the ride. Until next time, thanks for watching.